Hello, everybody. This is Russ Sandlin again with podcast number 2 on customer experience. I'm really excited today to introduce Jeremiah Okello, a good friend of mine from Nairobi, Kenya, who has been my uh, confidant, my helper, the guy who showed me around Nairobi and helped me to not get lost many times over the last 15 years. And he knows his customer experience, and he really knows his customer experience in Kenya. I know him way back from the day when he was working as a trainer, I believe, at KenClaw, one of those places that I just loved. So with no further ado, Jeremiah, welcome to our podcast. I'm so happy to have you. How are you doing today?
Thank you very much, Russ. I'm excited to be here, and I'm doing great. I hope you're doing great as well.
I am. And I just, I was hoping you'd be my first podcast victim, but you're number 2. So maybe it'll be a little bit better. I'm trying to get some kit working, and you know what? I'm learning I need to hire someone a lot younger than me to help me. But anyway, I thought today we talked about customer experience in sub-Saharan Africa. I thought you could give us an overview of the reasons the nearshore opportunity in sub-Saharan Africa is very strong for both the United States and for the UK. And then I'd like to hear a little bit more, if you could drill down a little bit into the Eastern Africa solution. Now, I've been all over the place. I was in Mauritius, I was in Kenya with you, I was in Ghana on the other side of the continent, and everyone knows about South Africa. So I want to hear a little bit of what you think the strengths are. And then, like I said before, we could drill into East Africa, which I think is a really, really interesting area. So with no further ado, what can you tell me about customer experience in Africa, and what does it have to offer?
Well, that's a good question, and it's a question that comes from both internally in Africa, from us Africans, and externally from the rest of the globe. What does Africa have to offer as far as probably customer experience, customer service, or outsourcing as such? Now, the thing is that the opportunities for exceptional customer experience exist in Africa due to several factors. One, the age demographic. Africa has some of the youngest labor availabilities across the globe, and that keeps getting better with time. Two, the skill levels in Africa is bar none among some of the best in the world. So if you're looking for some of the best skills workers within a customer service environment or an outsourced environment, you're sure to get some really good quality from Africa. Three, the proximity of Africa, especially with the European market, makes Africa ideal for servicing European clients, and that goes coupled with the historical factors for most African countries. For example, Kenya, our historical ties with the British and the UK is immense, and it greatly impacts on how customer service can be provided for that particular market from Kenya. And this is, you can talk about Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Zimbabwe, and all these other British colonized countries. And then you can go further and look at the Anglophone African countries, which are very ideal for servicing the French-speaking regions of the European market. But for say the American market, the appeal is there is a very huge population of Africans in the United States and Canada, generally the whole of the North American subcontinent. There and all of these Africans who are in these countries have relatives who've probably gone to visit, who've probably gone to school there, and when they come, try to sort of replicate what they've learned there. And a good example of that is myself. I went to school in Texas, and I'm back here. What I learned in Texas has really the pivot of what I've been doing in the outsourcing space, as well as the customer experience space in Kenya. And that
I hope
is,
you didn't become a Cowboys fan while you were there.
Yes, I was a Cowboys fan. I still am up to date. So
I figured. Yeah.
yeah.
So
So
interesting. You're
as
talking
far as
about the British influence, and I had to tell you because I'm older. I grew up with the movie Born Free. That was like one of my favorite shows, favorite movies in the 1960s when I was a little boy. And everybody from my generation wanted to go to Kenya to see Elsa the lion, and the wonderful Kenyan people. So
I wish
Americans have this
I wish
warm
I
spot
wish
in our
that,
heart when we hear a Kenyan accent. We just
right.
it makes us feel very warm in the heart. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I mean, you have experienced it firsthand,
I have, yeah.
the warmth of the Kenyan population, the Kenyan people, and it is something that gets better, especially where there is servicing a client component involved in that interaction. So when a Kenyan knows that they are servicing a client, that warmth and that exceptional, friendshipness
Yeah.
and happy smile gets doubled, that kind of thing.
Plus, we had a
And those are
pretty
some
good president who was his parents were from Kenya also. So can't forget about that.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, there's so many factors that we can look at that may make this region appealing, but you can only talk about so much in a
So
podcast.
what is East Africa in your mind? And I guess that is all English. That there's no francophones in East Africa that I'm aware of. Maybe some Germans, but I'm not aware of any
Yeah.
francophones.
Well, actually, you're right, but historically, Rwanda has a bit of French influence.
Okay.
They are now just really trying to, get away from a lot of French, but over the past, say, maybe 40, 50 years, they've been largely French than English.
Wow.
Now they're just transitioning into, yeah. So in East Africa, Rwanda is the only, Anglophone country that we would say per se, but they're getting away from that. However, what is happening is that, and this is happening across, the whole continent. A lot of the non-French speaking countries, like say East and South Africa, French is steadily becoming very appealing because of its interest as far as international and global business goes. So you find that a lot of these traditionally non-French speaking countries, people are privately learning French and they're knowing.
Wow.
And that trend is also happening in the Francophone Africa as well, the West African countries. They are realizing that, you have to also learn, and know, you have to be able to communicate in English as well. So they are also having, a spike in fluency in English. So it's something that is
leads
going
me,
to
Jeremiah, to another kind of side question. In your mind,
yes.
What are the countries that you call East Africa, and do you include Mauritius in that group?
Absolutely, yeah. So East Africa traditionally has been Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda. Those are the three countries that started the East African community. But then over time, Rwanda has joined in, Burundi has joined in, South Sudan, the last one of the African nations, has joined in, and Ethiopia is in the process of joining in as well.
Wow.
However,
how about Tanzania?
Tanzania is in as well, absolutely.
Oh, cool.
So geographically, then you now include Mauritius and Madagascar and the Seychelles and all these other, island nations in the Indian Ocean.
A lot of different languages.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Which makes the region even more appealing.
Excellent.
Yes.
So speaking of innovations coming out of Africa, I know when I first started visiting you there, 15 years ago, you were telling me how Africa never even laid out copper cable. They never even went with fiber. They just jumped straight to like I think it's 4G back then and now 5G. So you skipped a couple generations of technology, and that was 15 years ago. So now, what are you guys doing now? What's the technology innovations coming out of East Africa that we can expect to see? And how would that affect customer experience?
Okay, that's a great one as well, and I'll give you a little bit of history. When Kenya started out in getting into this outsourcing space way back in, I think, 2004, 2003, around that time, there was nothing like high-speed internet around this region. So the pioneer organization that started this whole affair in Kenya, Kencall, was relying on satellite, and satellite was so damn expensive
Yeah.
and so damn unreliable, and it made the work that much more harder because the investment that had to go into that infrastructure was tremendous. Now with time and as the appeal of the international business service space became appealing to the governments, we came around and we have now fiber optic cables, and now we have even 5G. So this region has stayed in tandem with the rest of the globe as far as technology goes, and telecommunication goes. Right now, I think we have as good as telecommunication infrastructure as well as any other region in the world. Now, as far as innovations, I think that Africa has, again, this goes back to the population demographics. The young population, the youth, they are learning very fast, and the advent of being able to do to learn a lot through Google without necessarily having to go to school or pay a lot of money to go to a college and everything has made that even better, because a lot of our youths are learning a lot of the latest technologies by themselves on YouTube and going on to online classes, on online free classes and all those types of environments. What that has done is that it has created a cluster of custom solutions that are geared towards addressing specific issues that the African enterprises change in the region. And this is sort of like a moving target. It keeps changing. Every time a new challenge comes, a new solution comes, then a new solution comes, and a next solution comes, like that. So it keeps changing. In terms of innovation, I think Africa is a hotbed for innovations, both in terms of telecommunications and technology solutions, applications, and stuff like that.
So I have no doubt that the youth that you described in East Africa could handle all the interactions by voice, through social media, and all that good stuff. Now, if an American client is listening to this, and I hope there will be, and they're looking for people who are full stack developers, they're guys or girls who have DevOps experience in Kampala or in Nairobi, would they be able to find youth who are into development, into doing high-end programming? Would that kind of skill set be something they could find?
Absolutely, absolutely, and you'll find them in their drones. For example, if you put out call out for a CV for a full stack software development, or op development manager or something like that, you'd be shocked how many qualified youths will come forth. Now, it used to be a challenge before that we were talking about the youths and their capability and their skills and all, but very fast both the governments and the individuals themselves realize that what, if I want to measure up and I want to get myself the best opportunities, I have to scale up. So people have scaled up. The government has brought up opportunities and initiatives and programs and schemes that help to scale up African youth capability. So if regardless of the type of skills that you may require, if you call out for CVs, I can guarantee you'll get people, probably overqualified in some cases.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's no shortage of skills at this point, I should say so.
So from what I'm hearing, there's a lot of IT grads. If you look at Rwanda, yes, Tanzania, yes, or Uganda, Kenya, you got great English. And you go to Mauritius, yes, you got Portuguese and French on top of that, right?
Right. Then Rwanda, you have a mixture of French and English as well.
And how about Mozambique? What are the languages there?
Portuguese, and English.
Wow,
Yes.
wow, that's excellent.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds
Yeah.
like a great place to do business. So if people want to know a little bit more about you and what you do, because I know you really well, I'd like you to tell us a little bit about what you're up to and what you do and how you do it. So over to you, Jeremiah.
Thank you very much. Well, I started off in the call center and customer service environment way back when. Started off as an agent, worked my way up, in the ranks in terms of employment. But then at some point, it became very apparent that employment is not the way to go. So I started off my company. I own a company called Collins Consulting International that we started operations moonlighting, sort of in around 2010, but we officially got, registrations and all this, got formally registered a company in 2012 and, started operations around then. So what we do generally is we provide turnkey solutions for outsourcers, but we try and focus a lot more on the service vendors in this region so that we can grow the capacity of this region as a destination. So among the things we do is sort of, do a match between service vendors and service buyers from across the globe. So if anyone is looking to set foot into the East African market, we are the people you need to talk to just so that you can get firsthand, information and feedback on how this environment sort of, this region is known for safaris, coming to see animals. If you're coming for safari and you're coming from North America, if you come in and you don't know where you're going, you'll never see any animals. You need to have a safari guide to take you around to get you to the best places. Now,
so
translate that.
You're the capacity guide.
Yes,
you can take the Corys of the world, the US guys coming on their safaris to do safaris on the best contact centers.
Absolutely, yes.
That's
so
cool.
we've done.
I like that.
Yeah, the market will let you know the dynamics of this market. If you're trying to identify, partners, we'll be able to help you, pick out, the right partners and be able to make sure that you are sourcing, initiatives.
So you're kind of a matchmaker. You know everybody, and you know the good and the bad and the ugly, I suppose. So I tell you what, I'm going to put your information in the liner notes of this podcast so people can reach out to you. So people in the UK and the US, if you're looking to place business to increase your customer experience and to find a very interesting time zone that's a little bit closer to you, especially when you compare to the subcontinent or the Philippines, sounds like East Africa might be the place for you. And Jeremiah's waiting by his phone for your call.
Thank you so much, Russ, for that. Thank you.
Well, I'm really glad that we got this chance to catch up, and I'm looking forward to going down for a proper safari as well as a call center safari with you soon.
Thank you so much. You're welcome, and we'll wait for you. We are always here waiting.
Thanks a million.
Coming.
Bye.
All right. Thank you so much, Russ. Bye.